Welcome to the Pineapple Pinup, the Hot Wife Life podcast. On today's podcast, I'm going to shift a little bit and I'm going to just play you the full interview I did with Hopeful from Cuck My Life podcast. Hi, Hopeful.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me very early on a Sunday morning.
Well, it's the least I could do. You gave us over an hour a couple of weeks ago. We can't wait to drop that episode.
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun for me.
Oh, I'm glad.
Like it's really nice because as you know, I do this podcast alone. And having somebody to bounce conversation off of tends to help my brain work. Um,
Well, I've been listening to you a lot, and your brain seems to work just fine.
Aw,
It
thanks.
seems to work just fine. But we try to create a welcoming environment for our guests, and we're really just interested in the conversation.
Yeah, and that was one thing I gleaned from your from listening to your podcast was that conversation is probably the most important because these conversations need to be had.
Oh, agreed.
These
And normalized.
conversations need to be normalized. We need to normalize everything about the swinger cuck life. Because it's your neighbor doing it.
Hmm. I say it all the time. There are way too many people really uptight about the sex no one is asking them to have.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, so my big thing is origin stories. How did you get into the lifestyle? When did you get into the lifestyle?
So it was 2019. My wife and I got married in 2018. Um, she was, as far as I could tell, very vanilla. We have a very nice rapport. We get along really, really well, but we were not clicking in the bedroom. We
Mm,
could not find a dynamic that worked for us. I had just come out of a weird little relationship where I was in a very dominant position, and I was trying to carry that on with her, but she was not super responsive. And I came to her in either late 2019 or early 2020 and said, look, we have to have a conversation about what's going on because we're not having a positive sexual relationship. And I want to tell you a few things about me that I think might help. And I wasn't sure exactly where the conversation was going to go. And it took a couple of weeks
as it
and many,
should.
many conversations to get to what I really am is a cuckold who would like to see you with other men. It took weeks, but I finally got to the point where I just said, look, this is what I want. I'd like to see you with other men. I don't want to be with anybody else, but I'd like you to be more dominant. And we've been exploring it since then. Now, as I've said many, many times on our podcast, Cuck My Life, my wife got sick a few years ago. We haven't really gotten back on track since then. We've had some family tragedy, but we still have a wonderful rapport around who we want to be when we
Right.
get to that point. And whether we're actively cucking or not, I am what I am. I'm
Mhm.
still a cuck and happy to be one and proud to be one.
Good. Okay. So, did you find that I mean, considering the fact that you were in a dominant relationship prior to that,
Mm.
um, I find it very fascinating that you actually walked the path to what you really truly wanted because you knew you wanted something spicy, from what I
Oh,
can
no
tell.
question.
You wanted something a little bit more than vanilla.
No, without a
Eh,
doubt, I am a kinky fuck.
hey, aren't we all?
Mhm.
So I love the fact that you walked that full thought process and had the conversations that led you to being truthful about what you truly want. I think that a lot of people are scared of those conversations.
It's incredibly hard to be vulnerable.
Incredibly. And
And
especially men of a certain age. I'm
mm,
sorry, but you guys have a tough road considering the fucking playgrounds we grew up on.
and the expectations of what a man is supposed to be can really fuck with your brain if you want to be in this particular place where I am.
Mhm.
And it is one of those things where you have to, and what I've recognized over the last 5 years more than anything else is that I can be a cuck and still be a man. There's
Exactly.
no, I am a submissive, but
To
to
one person.
her,
Yeah,
not to you,
exactly.
not to them, not to some fucking guy walking down the street. Like there is nobody who has ever met me in the vanilla world who would think, "Oh, he's a pushover."
Yeah. I get that
That
a lot. I get that a lot. And it was really funny because for a very long time, the relationship I had with my husband wasn't, um, wasn't very good. I mean, we weren't communicating very well. Because of my past trauma, spent a lot of time walking on eggshells with him,
mm,
and that wasn't fair to him. That wasn't fair to him. But when we actually started communicating, everybody looked at me and said, "Oh, I get it. I see it now. I see where you guys," because nobody can see the thing that makes you and your partner click,
100%, yeah.
because a lot of that is the intimacy.
But we have our relationships in private,
Exactly.
right? We have the relationship that we show the world,
Mhm.
but we have most of us, I think, and I would venture a guess that it's all of us, have completely different relationships in private, and that's what
That's
makes the world go round.
Unfortunately, I've started living my private life really out loud, hence
Not
the microphone.
unfortunately. I'm just gonna tell you, it's incredibly fortunate for, let's see,
Aw.
Moses, Josh, several of the Johns,
Oh my
the
god.
9 guys at the like,
Oh,
you are seizing your sexuality, and it is a joy to watch it. Well, let me rephrase. It is a joy to listen to.
oh, thank you. Well, I have always been a very sexual person, a very kinky person, and this has given me so much. So, a lot of times people think that I'm doing this, "Oh, you're doing this for your" No, and my husband oftentimes actually asks me, "Are you doing this for me?" And I'm like, "Oh, sweetie,
You
I
and
don't know if you
Tatiana would get along
saw
just fine.
I don't know if you saw the big cock I was riding on last night,
No,
but
if it
it's
was
not
for
just for you."
you, I'm on board anyway,
Yeah,
like, either way, like,
exactly. I'm willing to be that tugboat.
if
I'm
that's
just
what you
willing.
need.
That's what you need. I will surrender myself.
Such a
So
giving human you are.
oh, right? Okay, so my next question is, why did you start a podcast?
So, we we developed a group, right?
Mhm.
Hubs and I actually met through Michael C. The Keys and Anklet podcast. Have you ever heard of, Mike?
No.
I highly recommend you listen to him a little bit. He's a very interesting guy. He is
Oh,
one of the original cuckold podcasters. He's a bull, lives in, I want to say, New Jersey, just over the river from New York City, and he's been doing that podcast for probably 15 years. And during COVID, Hubs and I were invited to a video chat, similar to what you and I are doing right now. Just a few
mhm,
couples and Mike, and we just hung around, talked cucking, talked life. And that's how Hubs and I got together. And we developed a DM room on
mm,
Twitter where
mhm,
we invited other guys who were cuck or cuck adjacent, and we kind of developed a little support group. And Hubs and Aussie and Poe and I all became very, very close. And we would have video cocktails, right?
mm,
Because Aussie's in fucking Australia, Poe's in fucking Texas, and so we would get together on Zoom and just have cocktails, and we would have these conversations about this lifestyle and about who we are and what it looked like. And we kept saying, I think other people would benefit from this.
mm,
And so we put together a little thing. We talked about it for about 6 months. We talked to Doc Chocolate of the Bulls and Queens podcast because we were friendly with him, and we started developing ideas for what we would like to talk about. And ours has evolved dramatically, I think, the same way yours has.
Mhm.
And we decided we were going to do 5 episodes and drop 5 episodes all at once,
Okay.
right? And we reached out to people. There were going to be a couple that were just us, and we were going to get a couple of guests. And we got Crystal Welch, who's an amazing advocate for the lifestyle. And for some reason, we were able to get Dr. David Lay to come and talk to us. He's the guy who wrote Insatiable Wives. We hadn't dropped a single episode. Right.
Wow.
I reached out to him. I was like, hey, do you think he's like, yeah, everybody's got a fucking podcast. If you want me to come on, I'll come on. And we just actually had an interview with him again yesterday. And that was, 2 years ago. We had that first conversation with him. And we, we've come so far in what we're doing that Dr. David Lay invited us to the Sexual Health Alliance to talk to clinicians about what it's like to be a cuck so they would better understand it if they got patients who were cuckolds or who were in that submissive role. And that was an incredible gift to us to ask us to do that, because that's what we're trying to do. We're
Mhm.
trying to normalize this conversation around this lifestyle so people feel more comfortable with it. If we can help people who help people, that's even more important to us.
You wanna hear something really funny?
Definitely.
I was, doing my podcast, and I happen to have a friend who is a she's a therapist,
Mm,
and she said, "Would you mind coming and doing a presentation at the office?" Because I said, because I had been talking to her about my podcast, about what I was trying to do with it, and about the fact that I was trying to get people to understand that judgment is the worst way to get somebody to open up to you, but
mm.
curiosity is going to lead you places. So
Amen.
if you get somebody in your office and you don't understand the lifestyle that they're trying to lead, and you've got judgment against it because of the fact that you've grown up thinking sex is bad, or outside of the normal sex is bad, then you're not going to be as curious as you need to get to the point of what it is they're trying to work through with this lifestyle.
100%.
So
We come
she
from the Ted Lasso school where curious, not judgmental
curious, not
is the
judgmental.
key. It's
Exactly.
one of the main rules of the room that we run. We have about 50 cucks in there, and before you get in, you have to agree to the rules. And one of them is don't ever talk bad about anybody else's kinks. It's
Exactly.
that simple.
Don't yuck my yum.
Yep.
And and it was very interesting going into this room and giving this presentation to these, like, legit, studied for years
Hmm.
therapists, and they were astounded by the information that I was able to give them about the lifestyle, about where kinks come from, and, like, all of this stuff, and I said, "It's not about the activity that they're doing right now. What you want to get to is where that started, where that desire came from." And for me, I know exactly where it came from because I've done a lot of self-reflection. I've done a lot of self-analysis, and I know that this is the healthiest way for me to exercise my demons.
And there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Exactly. If you're doing something safe, sane, and consensually, that's all that that's all that matters.
100%.
Consent 100% is the golden rule.
Uh,
S
Without question.
So that's interesting that you guys had a similar path. So tell me more about, so where did it go? Where did your podcast lead you that you found interesting?
Okay, so when we started this, we really weren't sure whether anybody would ever listen, right? But we were having a good time having the conversations. And the more we did it, the more we started to build an audience.
Mhm,
We get, I don't know, about 1,500 listens in the first week that we drop an episode, and somewhere between 500 and 700 in the first 24 hours, depending on the
mhm,
guests. We just did an episode. You can hear it right now. We did an episode with 4 women who had fallen in love with secondary partners.
mhm,
And we wanted to kind of demystify that idea, because we hear from cucks all the time. We say, "Well, what if she gets attached?" Like, well, you don't have any control over that,
Right.
right? Like, she's a human being. You're asking her to have sex with other human beings. She might get attached.
That's very true.
That's just a fact, and you don't have to be afraid of that because you're afraid of attachment, but she needs to feel connection to have the sex she wants to have.
Exactly.
So we're trying to just have conversations around complicated ideas in the lifestyle, and there's no right or wrong way, right?
Mhm.
As long as everybody's happy.
Right.
We had a very interesting conversation with a bull named Drew Marsden about race play,
Mm.
and what that looks like. We've had an opportunity to talk to some really incredible people, and our podcast is really about motivation and understanding more than it is about titillation. Now,
Right.
some of the stories are very sexy, some of the women are incredible, some of the men are very powerful,
Mm.
but we're more interested in having a conversation about how this looks for them as human beings.
How
And
it fits into their life.
yeah, it's not a BBC, it's a human being,
Exactly.
right? And we want to try and make sure that people understand that the people who are doing this are exactly like you said, your neighbors.
Yeah.
The guy across the street has no idea who I am.
Exactly. Well, okay, so it's funny that you mentioned BBC because a lot of times people will come at me and be like, "Oh, are you a queen of spades? Oh, BB," and
Mm.
they try to pull together race play, and I'm like, "I'm the United States of Benetton when it comes to cock. I'm all colors, all creeds. I that isn't I'm
Size, not
not
color. Yeah.
well, actually not even size. Like I have gotten some of the because every cock is different and
Yep.
how it actually works with the mechanisms I have every single time is different. I've had some that were amazingly huge and I was like, "Okay, wow, look at the time."
I gotta
And then there were
go.
times when it was like, "Okay, this guy may not be packing a lot of heat, but he's packing a lot of energy,
Mm.
and that energy is fucking doing it for me." So, for me, it's not about I'm notorious for saying, it's not for me, I don't really need the connection, which
Yeah, no,
is
that's
tragic.
that's
But
not. That's how you work, right? Like,
yeah, like,
you're
I mean,
having
but
fun.
I'm never going to get to that. I'm never going to get to that higher level that a lot of these women do because I am so, like, I don't know what it
ADHD?
is. It's very ADHD.
Yeah.
But the thing is that
Ooh, a
I
shiny cock.
love yeah, I don't get distracted by squirrels. I get distracted by cock. So, that's one of the big things for me is that because of the fact that I'm never going to reach that connection stage and I'm never going to get into that deeper play, I'm never going to allow myself to be dominated by someone who is, like, not connected to me.
Right.
Which I have a couple of bulls that I'm getting very, very, very close to and that I'm starting to build that connection with, and that trust is starting to really be there. So that is super fucking intriguing for me.
Mm.
But,
How's it feel for
um,
your husband?
my husband,
Yeah.
um he is so secure in the fact that I looked him straight in the eye and said, "I may fuck any number of people, and I
Mm.
may develop feelings for any number of people, but I'm coming home to your bed every single night. That's my promise to you, is that I'm coming home to your bed,
That warms my
and
cuck heart.
and nothing else matters because I'm sorry, I'm not gonna try to go and build a life with someone else. The life
Mm.
I have here is a very successful building,
Mm.
okay? It has some layers that were not well decorated, but the life I have built is glorious, and I wouldn't wanna be anywhere else. So, And this is time that I have with my husband because like you were saying with your wife having health issues, my husband had health issues,
Mm.
which is actually what really truly brought us into the lifestyle, is that he looked at me and said, "I want to live my life to its fullest." And I said, "How does that look?" And he said, "You stuffed with cock." And I said, "I'll take it."
Conversation over. Let's go.
Let's go. But I mean, it took me a very, very long time to believe him
Sure.
when he said the words out loud. It took me a very long time to believe him. And I think that's fair because, like I said, I like the life that I've built. I love the life that I've built with him. I love the house and the chores and the children and well, and the dogs and stuff. I love all that.
Yeah.
And this is just an added layer.
Mm.
So I'm not going to do anything with seasoning when I have a whole meal. You know what I mean?
Understood. We hear from a lot of women who, when their husbands present this idea to them, say they think it's a trick, that he wants
They
to
want
go
to
sleep
sleep
with
with
other
other people.
people, that it's that they're this is kind of a gateway to them getting to play around on the outside. Now, did you go through any of that when he brought this to you?
When we first started playing way back in the day, when we first attempted it, when it didn't go well, he had he had brought up the swinging thing. Well, I had brought it up, and he was like,
Not a
"Let's do
girl.
it." And I literally thought that that's what he wanted, or to see me with another woman. And I was so completely fucking wrong. I was so wrong. My husband I mean, my husband and I, on so many areas, did not communicate when we first started.
Mm.
We didn't have the conversations that it's very important to have because if you stop short, if you say, "I want to get into the swinger lifestyle," and then you let that marinate, and then they're like, "Okay, what does that look like?" You have to go through the conversation and say the thing that you're fantasizing about.
100%. And I think that's why podcasts like ours and podcasts like yours are incredibly helpful for people, right? Because when you started this, there weren't a lot of resources that you could go to that you could get real information about, right?
Mhm.
Either it was pornified, and
Right.
let's be clear, as much fun as porn can be, it's also a fucking liar.
It is.
It does not
This
tell the truth about anything.
way too good lighting. I mean, that lighting is way too good.
Right, they put makeup on the ass for crying out loud.
Exactly.
Let's
I
be
mean,
clear,
if you've
right?
airbrushed my ass, that's not real life. I don't have an airbrusher
Well,
in my
and
daily
plus
life.
in porn, as hot as porn can be, first of all, those people are athletes. They're
Yes.
major leaguers, right? They're doing things that we probably shouldn't do. Maybe you, not me. But they don't ever show the conversation. They don't ever show the consent. They don't ever show that negotiation that
Mhm.
has to take place before you develop this kind of relationship.
Exactly.
You can't say, I want to be a swinger, or I want to be a cuck, or I want to be a hot wife, and then move on into a
Doesn't work
successful
like that.
iteration of that. It doesn't work.
Mm-mm.
You have to have not one, not two, not 10, not 100 conversations. You have to have conversations all the time. And you have to be 100% vulnerable. And that is hard to do.
Yeah, you have to lay your shit out there. You have
Fucking
to say,
facts.
"This is the disturbed portion of my brain that where these thoughts live, and I'd like to welcome you inside. And please don't mind the cobwebs." Like legit, you have to take them into the secret dark rooms of your brain and of the things that make you pulse
Mm,
with desire, whatever that is. You have to take them in there and explain to them what it is. Now, the problem is that there are so many terms out there. There's so many terms out there that
mm,
get everybody all googly And, like, there was a post recently where this woman had asked people to come and rape her, and she used this word that is very triggering for some, and then had the audacity to be offended when they were offended. So, I mean, here's the thing, don't yuck anybody's yum,
Right.
but at the same time, understand the language that you're using has an impact.
100%.
It has like, when you're using language, make sure you're using the right language.
Well, consensual non-consent is a funky little
It's a little
kink.
yeah,
It's a
no,
funky
it's a
little kink.
but I can I just tell you that the majority of women on the planet have a consensual non-consent kink, and
Oh,
I will tell you why. Because every one of us is afraid walking down the street that we are going to be raped,
sure.
and this is how your brain fixes that for you. They turn
We
it into a kink.
eroticize our fears. Dan Savage
Exactly.
says it all the time. We talked about it with David Lay yesterday. The the erotic the eroticization of fear is a common, I think, in most humans.
Exactly. And a lot of times, like, I know that my husband, he had a fear of being cheated on.
Hmm.
It was a theme throughout our marriage before all this started. He had a fear of that because it had happened to him in the past, and he
Mhm.
had a fear. And his brain worked it into a kink. And now thank you so much. Um, but I
It's
mean,
working
it's
out.
let's let's do this. But that's one of the things is that you can't be there's gotta be one person on the planet, your partner, that is allowed to see the messy, messed up stuff.
Hmm.
They have to be able to see it. And here's the thing, it's not yucking someone's yum, it's if somebody needs help, you need to be able to give them that help. You need to be able to let them say all of the messed up fucking shit.
Mhm.
You need to let them say all of the and then say, "Okay, so this is where the boundaries lie," because we're not in that fantasy. Like, my husband's fantasy of, like, seeing me airtight, probably not gonna happen. I'm a big girl, it's probably not gonna happen. But I tell him, "These are the boundaries of that fantasy." And I'm not saying that anything about that is messed up or wrong, but I'm just saying that even if somebody has a
Logistically.
fantasy,
Right.
that doesn't always logistically work.
Sure.
So, you
But
have to
I think you're 100% correct, right? The if you wanna be in this lifestyle, you have to have messy conversations with your partner, and you have to we say regularly, you can ask her to do this, but you can't tell her how,
right.
right? You if you wanna be in our role in this lifestyle, you kinda have to let go and let her, right?
Exactly.
Our new merch says, has our little bird on it, and it says, "Don't ask me, ask her," right?
Exactly.
And there are things that are going to happen that might not be the things that you want, but you have to be able to use your words. You have to
Exactly.
be able to have those adult conversations, those messy conversations, and you need to do it from a place of understanding or trying to understand and not a place of anger or frustration. This is a lifestyle that
Curiosity,
is
not
messy.
judgment.
100%, right?
Because
This is how it made me feel, not, "I can't believe what you did."
yeah.
It's not even that complicated, but it's
So
also very complicated.
it's so complicated. And
Mm,
it's really and I don't really I know that we can have intellectual conversations about this all day long, but
mm,
practice of it is fucking rough.
mm.
Okay? It is rough. And I mean, I've had to have conversations with my husband where I've had to trot out the depraved shit. And I've had to tell him the depraved shit that happens inside of my brain. And he has to look at me and go, "I don't get it. I don't I don't I don't and then, like, one time I actually had the conversation where I told him I was looking for a dom.
Mm,
I wasn't looking for a dom, but that's what I wanted. I wanted to
right.
be
Understood.
dominated.
Yeah.
And he said, "Uh, I don't I don't I don't know what to," and I said, "You're not a dom, honey."
Yes.
And he goes, "I don't, um," and then he went downstairs and started searching for a dame for me. And I was like, "Okay, um, that's not how any of this is gonna work,
That's
but I appreciate you trying."
that's a
And
good
I
job,
just
little
looked at him
buddy.
and I said, "You know, that's not we're having a conversation. I'm trying to tell you the things that are going on inside my head, and I may not be presenting them to you well, but that's what's happening." There were a few conversations like that. There were a few conversations that started out with me saying something, and his reaction was like, and I was like, "Okay," and we're dialing it back now.
Was
So, the conversation's never gonna be easy the first time. It's
nope.
never going to be heard the way you need it to be heard the first time. So, you need to shock the system,
Hmm.
walk away, come back again.
You are 100% correct. We, I wrote a blog for our little Kofi that's just titled Patience,
Mhm.
right? A lot of people, a lot of female presenting people, when presented with this idea, when given this idea, they need time to sit with it,
Mhm.
right? Women in particular are brought up being told that sex is bad, that they shouldn't do it, that they should guard it very carefully, that they should only do it, blah, blah, blah. And for a million reasons, right? Religion, fear of pregnancy, sex can derail a young woman's life in a lot of different ways. And there's
So
no
easily.
question about it, right? Pregnancy is a sexually transmitted disease for some people, right? It
Mhm.
can really mess up a life. And we understand that, right? That's kind of across the board. So when you ask your partner, your female presenting partner, to embrace a sexual lifestyle, she doesn't just have to decide she likes dick. She has to overcome religious concerns, safety concerns, a million other things.
Exactly.
I'm not worried about meeting a stranger in public. I'm probably going to be okay. My wife is very worried about meeting a stranger in public because it's fucking dangerous for her,
It's
much
fucking
more
dangerous.
dangerous for
I
her.
Walking around with a vagina is not as easy as it sounds.
No, I can't even imagine what like what women are put through on, especially in this country, is overwhelming.
Mm,
The misogyny is real and it's everywhere.
yeah.
And sexism and the male gaze are complicated things to overcome,
Yes.
right?
And it's so pervasive too, and you
Mm,
don't even know that you're doing it. You don't even know that you're living up to an expectation of this male gaze. You don't even know that it's so ingrained
mm,
in what we are and who we are. And it is one of those things that I we all need to be cognizant, but I don't know that there's really a cure right now.
yeah.
Some of us are broken.
No question about it. I think it's getting better. We're having more conversations. I think what we're dealing with right now is the last gasp of male dominant nationalism bullshit. We are developing as a society, and that I think that fear is what's driving our current political environment.
Mhm.
But this younger generation, they grew up with porn on their phones from when they were fucking 11.
And you know how many of them are asexual because of it?
Yeah, they do, or they
They just don't have sex.
yeah, they don't have
I
to.
I do not in it blows my mind
Mm,
that they have all the access and all the whatever, and they just don't, and I don't know what that means.
Well, we're all
Um,
being more and more isolated by these little
that's
devices
true.
that we carry around.
That's
They
true.
connect us in a million ways and separate us in ways that are inexplicable.
Exactly. And I am so glad that I have found a way to disconnect from my phone.
Mm.
My phone has literally become a secondary. It's like, "Oh, where's my phone?" Because I
I
don't
carry mine around all the time because of the steps. I need it's counting my steps. So,
but, like, I don't actually that's not how I wanna have a conversation. I wanna
mm.
meet somebody at a party. Um, as a matter of fact, yesterday I went to 2 parties. One was just a meet and greet, and the other one was a play party.
You must be exhausted.
I am.
Appropriately bruised. Yeah, I gotcha.
I am.
Nice.
Ugh, I can't for the first time in I don't know how long, I have fucking hickeys, and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, you're
Like,
reclaiming your youth. It's
and my
amazing.
husband was like, "I like it." And
Yeah.
that's because you don't have to wear a fucking turtleneck all week. July in Virginia is not the time,
Not the
baby.
place to wear a turtleneck. That's a
But yeah,
fact. Yeah.
so I just thought that it was so, um it was literally one of those things where I was like, "I really have not had to deal with this since in decades. Wow, okay. Here we are." But
Well,
it was
reckless
nice.
abandon is not a terrible thing, not in a
Um,
sexual lifestyle.
oh my god, yeah, no, the nice thing was is that it was very, animalistic. It was very nice. Um, and that was it was last night was kinda weird, actually. Sorry, I'm gonna get into some of
That's
the
okay.
stuff
Let's
that
go.
happened. Um, so I went to the one party because I wanted to see the venue
Sure.
because I'm thinking about possibly doing something,
Okay.
like a party where I invite my listeners kinda thing.
Mm,
I don't know, I haven't gotten there yet, but I found this establishment that will rent out the venue for me.
okay.
And I was going to check out the venue, and there was a girl there that I had met at a different party who was going to meet me there and then show me around the place. And so she and I just like literally we just started chatting and we talked and 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 talked. And my husband's like, "Are you gonna play?" And I was like, "I don't think I'm going to. This is not a target rich environment for me." Okay, let's go. So then we headed off to the second party. And at the second party, I was like, there's my boys. Oh my god. And it was a bunch of guys that I'd played with before because we all are on the same party scene.
Sure.
And one of them is my favorite bull that I never get to see, Jeff. I can't wait to get back in touch with him. But anyway, he was there and he made me squirt all over this poor woman who was having sex next to us. Oops. Sorry about that.
Hey, listen, if you're in the splash zone, you're in the splash zone,
You're in the
right?
splash
Like
zone. She's the one who brought the, absorbent blanket, so
she
she kinda
knows,
was expecting it.
not not her first time.
Not her first rodeo. But
Hmm.
yeah, so it was a very interesting for me evening because it was, like, 2 very different sides of my personality. One was, like, chatty Cathy over here, and one was, like, just fuck me.
I'm all talked out.
I'm all talked out,
I'm all
but
talked
it was a great night, and we got in so late, and I was like, "I'm gonna be dragging ass for this thing in the morning."
out. Well, we could have always rescheduled.
Oh, no, it's fine because I have to get up anyway because I have mutant creatures we like to call dogs who, like, have to get up and do things, like, I don't know, eat, whatever. So
There's not a 6 a.m. that goes by without a dog nose in my face.
exactly.
Not her face. They are way too smart for that.
Oh,
Hey man,
oh,
she's still sleeping. You want to make with the food
you wanna get
thing?
up here?
Like, I gotta pee. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm getting
can you
5 more minutes.
they don't understand time.
No, not at
Oh,
all. Well, they know dinner time,
yeah, they do.
and they know what time they're supposed to be up.
So Has, um I know that you and your wife, despite her health issues,
Mm.
you still create that tension with each other.
We have we live a very BDSM lifestyle, so
Mhm,
she's a dominant. We, engage in caging, we do spankings, we do pegging. We have our relationship that revolves around her power over me,
mhm,
and it is lovely. We are I we, we've been spending a lot of time apart lately for a lot of reasons. We work opposite shifts. I'm in a factory during the day, she's out at night, and she's been traveling back and forth to her parents' house, for because they're aged and
mhm.
spending some time out there trying to situate. So we haven't seen a lot of each other. We got to go to dinner together last night. It was joyful. And we get the day to spend together today. And it is when we get the chance to be together, it's electric. She's my favorite person. She walks by and my dick moves,
Mm,
right? I
yeah.
can't wait to smell her. I can't wait to just brush her amazing skin. She is everything. And when she turns on her power, I I melt like an ice cream in the Virginia July.
Exactly. That's so awesome, though. I mean,
Mm, I'm very
finding
lucky.
yeah, finding that relationship that fulfills you on so many levels, and, I mean, the one thing that it took me a very long time to fully understand and hear was that my husband looked at me and said, "You are my porn star. I
Mm.
don't when I look at porn, it's you."
Oh, I have that exact same thing.
And it takes a lot for a woman to understand that that's truth because
Mm,
we're so fucking judgmental of ourselves.
of course.
And of course, all humans are. All humans are judgmental of themselves and like, "Oh, I should be skinnier. Oh, I should do my hair better. Oh, I should do makeup." Like we have so many voices that we're trying to overcome
Mm,
that it takes a while to believe somebody when they tell you that you're their it.
mm,
And it's been one of the things that has magically created I go to parties and I have absolutely no fear. I have no nerves. I have no, um, anxiety.
you bring your support system with
Well, yeah, and the fact that it doesn't matter what happens at this party, I'm going home with him,
you. Mhm.
and he thinks I'm the cat's pajamas.
No matter what.
So, for me, it's like it's taken away believing him has taken away so much of my self-judgment, so much of my anxiety. And when I go to these parties, I'm literally like, "Okay, I'm not your cup of tea. There's another cup right over there. Feel
There you
free
go.
to go
Go
play
see
with that
that
one,
cup and get out of the way because I think
because
that
I
guy
think there's somebody
might
behind
like my
you're
tea.
blocking the way. Stop cock blocking, butthole." Yeah. So and that's kind of very important for, especially women who are approaching this.
Mm,
Women who are approaching this lifestyle who have been asked the question, "Would this be something?" Who are really pondering it. 90% of them are probably number 1 fear is, "I don't think anybody out there will like me. I haven't been on the dating scene in forever." And I'm 100% here to tell you, I am absolutely not a supermodel. Abso-fucking-lutely not a supermodel. I am a big girl, but it's like walking through a forest of dick. It's just getting thrown at you left and right, and you don't need
dick
to
is
worry.
plentiful,
You don't need to worry that somebody's not gonna find you attractive because somebody will, and I
no
can
matter what.
guarantee
Yeah.
fucking to it.
And first of all, you're very attractive.
Oh,
I,
thank you.
there's no question about that. Like, I had a picture of you in my head from your voice, which is incredibly sexy, by the way.
Thank you.
And you did not disappoint. You are a beautiful woman, and
Oh,
your ability to have these complicated conversations by yourself, really, really wonderful. Like
Yeah.
Um, you
Arguments with the voices in my head? Yeah.
well, I happen to listen to, I've been going through your catalog
Mm,
because I'd seen your logo for a couple years, and I was like, I gotta check that out. The first time I listened to it, I was like, I'm gonna definitely listen to more of this late.
aw.
And I was doing my walk the other day, and I was listening to your blowjob episode where you described giving a blowjob, and I was like, this is in, incredible. Like, I dare anybody to listen to that episode and not get an erection.
I had somebody write me, send me a text message and say, "Hey, I'm gonna listen to your podcast." And I think it was I think it was that episode. I think it
Mm,
was the blowjob episode that I had just released. He said, "I'm gonna listen to your podcast on the way into work." I'm like,
good
"That's
luck.
bold.
Yep,
That's a
you're
bold
gonna
choice."
have a
I
long
mean,
day at work, kid. I hope the bathroom
that
door
is
locks.
yeah. And what's really funny is my husband listens to it on the way into work, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm spending a lot of time pushed up really close to my desk today." It's his Friday routine, very close to the desk work. But yeah, so, I have great admiration for the fact that you guys are out there and because I've learned a lot about my husband's thought processes from listening to you. I've been able to have more in-depth conversations with him about what he's actually feeling and give us both a commonality of vocabulary. Because a commonality of vocabulary is one of the most important parts of communication is when you have terms that mean the same thing to both parties,
Mm,
the meaning is understood. But when you have conversations where you're using phrases that don't necessarily have the same meaning between the two people, it's a little bit rougher to get to the point where you're like where you're on the same page, where you're understanding one another. And that's the whole point of communication, but at the same time, if you're not communicating with the same vocabulary, it just doesn't work.
well, we really feel like, um, going back to one of the reasons why we started this is the Cuck perspective was not being presented.
Mm-mm.
Right? There were a few women like yourself and Sexy Soccer Mom and Venus, of course, having conversations. Then there were a couple of podcasts by Bulls Docs. There was a guy in Arizona who did something called the Stag Stable, where he was trying to talk to people about what this lifestyle looks like. And then there was Mike's podcast, Michael C., the Keys and Anklet. But there wasn't a, a cuck voice out there. And
Mhm.
we thought we might be able to fill that void. Uh,
Yeah, because for a very long time, cucks were basically a cardboard cutout. It was a
mhm.
standee. It
Yep.
was a it was this
The weakling in
derogatory
the
term.
corner. The
Yeah.
weakling in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the guy hiding in the closet.
Mhm.
And, like, nobody understood what was going on inside of that closet. It was just like and it made it feel very, Peeping Tom, very, like, hidden, secret, dirty. So the fact that you guys are bringing that voice out and saying, "This is we're not peeping toms. We're not under the bed listening to you guys have sex, so in a creepy way.
Mm,
We're there supporting our hot wife and basking in that cuck feeling like any other guy. Like,
mm,
the same thing you're going through as a bull, walking into that room and performing in front of this guy sitting there, he's going through something too. Like, everybody in this scenario is battling the thoughts in their head as well as the emotions that are being pulled up. It's happening. All of us are doing it, and the fact that now we have 3 perspectives
mm,
of what's happening in that room, and we have voices that are speaking of those perspectives is just it's fucking phenomenal, and it's giving us more ability to communicate what it is that we are trying to what our fantasies are.
We got an email just this past week from a guy saying, "I've been listening to your show, and well done. I appreciate your perspective. I understand what she gets out of it. I understand what the bull gets out of it. I really still don't understand what you get out of it." I'm like, first of all, I think you're protesting too much. Number one. Number two, we know who we are. We know what we want, right? This is it. I can't explain it to you in a way that will make you understand if you're not open to it in general.
Mhm.
But what I can say is that you don't have to feel bad for a cuck. You
No,
don't have to
no.
feel sorry for a cuck. We are not weak people. We are men who are madly in love with our wives, who derive a great deal of pleasure from seeing them pleasure in ways that we either are incapable of, or we get pleasure from watching them have these new experiences.
Exactly.
And I promise you, it's fucking joyful for us.
Oh, yeah. The one
It's
thing my
it,
husband has in spades is joy from this,
mm,
and
oh, I know exactly how it feels.
yeah, and the one of the things is, he said something to me the other day that, I really sat in, and I
Mm,
really thought about it. He's We make a lot of videos, he and I, with my bulls or whatever,
sure, sure, sure.
and I asked him something about posting it, and he was like, "No, I'm gonna hold on to this one for a while. This one, I just want this to be mine for a little bit. This is mine because I just wanna." And it was, like, so romantic to me
Mm,
that this was something that he was holding on to like a precious memory
sure.
that he was eventually gonna share. Don't get me wrong, the man loves to share, but he's the fact that he's holding on to it for that brief moment to really just sit with it and keep this as an intimate moment.
Mm.
Everything got wet, everything got damp. It was nice.
That's a beautiful thing. We
Yeah,
are
absolutely. And
it.
I think that's the best part. I mean, women don't, like, you my connection with my husband on a sexual level, everybody thinks that when you start in the cuckolding life that, "Oh, well, the guy never gets." My husband has so much sex,
Mm,
more sex than he ever had before, and he has sex with me a lot more because my libido is just inspired by everything we're doing. So,
that's amazing.
yeah,
And that's again, something we hear a lot, right? That
exactly.
once we entered into this, the sex between the two of us became much more intense, much more interesting. Because once you get through the conversation of this is who I am and this is what I want, then it's a
Mhm.
lot easier, right?
Absolutely.
You don't have to have a complicated conversation about, hey, you know what I really want is blah, blah, blah. You've had those conversations a million times.
Yeah,
It
very
creates a
much.
communication stream between partners that's overwhelming because you have to have conversations about who you're going to party with, what your dynamic will look like, what your role will be. That makes it a hell of a lot easier to talk about who's going to do the laundry.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. And it takes a lot of the, resentment away, because a lot of times you start getting resentful because you're having conversations in your head that you're not having out loud.
Mm,
But then when you start having those conversations out loud, all of the conversations you were having where you were bickering with, he's
your
not
partner,
feeling
yeah.
any of those things.
Right, right,
So
right, right.
it's dispelling a lot of the internal, like, monologue.
There's a phenomenal guy out there. His name is he goes by Saffremaster, and he does a podcast called Kinky Cocktail Hour. Amazing humans. Him and his partner, Lady Petra, they are on a sexual level that I doubt I will ever reach, but they have incredible conversations with people from all different walks of life. And one of the things he says is one of the biggest mistakes we make as humans is we create a story in our head for how somebody else feels. And then we think that is the case.
Yeah.
And it almost never is.
You'd be amazed how many times you could, get past the fear and resentment you're feeling by just saying the thing out loud, and then they'll respond, and it won't be what you thought. It will never be what you thought because nobody thinks of you in the same harsh light that you think of you.
Oh, that's a fact. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
I mean, literally, there's
We
not a
are our
single
own worst critics always.
exactly. There's nobody on the planet who's gonna talk worse about you than yourself.
Yeah.
It's just truth. So, well, it has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, it's
I
been my
cannot thank you
joy.
enough.
This has been a blast. I love that we've been able to kind of integrate our podcast a little bit, and I think we're having the exact same conversations in a lot of different ways.
Mhm.
And I'm just super thrilled that your podcast is out there because I think women who want to do this or who have been asked to do this
Mhm.
need powerful role models like you to say, hey, there's happiness on the other side of this. You don't have to be afraid,
Exactly.
right? You can find your jam and make your
It
time.
might become flavored. Just kidding.
Well, that's kind of hot.
Yeah.
Like, I hope we stay in touch, and we
Oh,
should do a little
I
more back and forth. You're really wonderful, and thank you very much for having me
you're
on. We really
so
appreciate it.
welcome. Thank you so much for coming. All right. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Pineapple Pin Up the Hot Wife Life podcast. If you have anything that you want to talk about or reach out to me, or if you'd like to be interviewed on the show, please don't hesitate to hit me up at pineapplepinuppod@gmail.com, or you can reach out to me on any of my socials. My Instagram is listed in my